Hi, welcome to my channel. I am Elfina and I am currently a second year SOAS student studying a BA in Korean, moving into my third year, my year abroad at Sogang University. So as you can see by the title, this is a video about applying for a Korean study abroad, year abroad visa. A process that was very confusing and stressful and just very unclear at times, and I thought I would make a video because I'm sure a lot of the people watching me are in similar positions or thinking of doing a year abroad in Korea even if they're not studying Korean, or even at SOAS or are thinking of going to SOAS and want to know information about the experience of applying for the Korean universities. I thought I would share my experience and see if it possibly helps anyone. I hope it does. I think there's around 9 sections I've done, just because I want to split it up into smaller chunks to make it easier to follow. The whole process itself, once you know what you're doing, is not too complicated, but it's all the things in between, and the university did not really help much at all whatsoever. So we've had to figure this out by ourselves. So that's pretty much it. Let's get started. So firstly, I thought I would talk about the types of visa. Now, if you are doing a working abroad thing for Korea, then this is not quite the right place. This is specifically for what I've had to apply for, which is a D-2-6 study abroad visa or exchange student visa. There are also, I think, D-2-4, D-2, there's a lot of different types, but this video is just for those who need to apply for a D-2-6 visa. So if you're not applying for any of those, this video probably won't be of much help to you, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so if you are applying for a D-2-6 visa, then you are in the right place. So, visa payment. I thought I would start with this mostly because it is basically the first step when applying for the visa, in the sense of you may have already got the documents and filled them out, but until you do the payment and they've sent an email or like an automatic response, you can't really do anything. First thing you need to do is now we're ready. So the first piece of information that you will need is from KVAC, which is the Korean Visa Application Center. I will just state that I don't know what the experience is with people who have other passports, so mine's a British passport. I don't know about dual passports, what kind of process, if there's anything different there. So I can really only help people specifically with a British passport. However, some of the steps may be the same, so it might be worth just either skipping ahead at certain sections which you know are similar or the same. Your best friend throughout this process will be the KVAC website and the documents they have there. I will be showing multiple things beside when I'm talking or doing a voiceover, but at the moment, from the time this will be uploaded, British applicants can only mail in, I believe. To the best of my knowledge, we have all had to just mail in everything. That is very important. I'm not sure if you can make appointments there, but from the best of my knowledge, it's only mail in for this type of visa at the moment. As you can see, this document has all of the bank details, and there are a few things which are very important when making the payment. The first one is, even though you are a UK applicant, you still need to pay in euros. Now, that might sound difficult, especially if you haven't got a Revolut or a Wise account. If you don't, I would recommend making one of those. However, you may still be able to do it through your normal bank, so like Santander or Lloyds or Halifax or whatever you're with. For me personally, I have a student account for my student finance payments. However, when I was doing, so they do international payments, but when I was doing mine, I couldn't fit in, I think it might have been all my names, or they didn't have enough space for my card number. I can't remember what it was, but that wouldn't work. So luckily I already have Revolut. If you don't, you can sign up for it, or Wise, whatever you prefer. I just had a Revolut. You can sign up for that and you can transfer your money into euros and then make the payment through there. That's what I did, and it was actually a lot easier than trying to go through my bank anyways. So I would highly recommend you do that. But again, I'm showing another document which will show you, depending on if you're doing I think it's a single entry or a multiple entry visa. That's also very important. I'm not sure in your situation, but I had to do a single entry visa, which meant it was a little bit cheaper. But that, just because it's single entry, you can still travel afterwards, but after you've got your visa, you need to apply for an alien registration card. I may do another video separate to that once I've gone through that process, I'm not sure. But if you are applying for a single entry visa, don't worry, you will be able to get in and out of the country. You just have to apply for your registration card afterwards, or when the time comes. Yeah, so you add up all of the fees that you need. So if you're doing, the fee for the visa itself, the career waiver form, that's very important if you're getting your passport and visa sent back to you back home. That's very important. You need to make sure you include the form for that and do the payment. This section is just meant to be on the payment of the visa, so I will get to all the detailed things about the mailing in section a bit later. But for now, for payment, this is all you have to worry about, and then you send it to the IOM KVAT bank details. You just include all of that when you're paying for it, and you have to send an email to them. Like this document, there is an email address, and you have to basically say, I've made the payment, and attach a receipt of payment or screenshot. I think you can use, I think I did a screenshot, and Revolut give you a certificate of payment. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but confirmation of payment, and I included that as a PDF as well, sent it off, and then I got an automated email saying I don't have to wait for a reply from them, I can just send it off. It can take, I think, up to 5 days for your payment to go through, so maybe you want to wait for that to be confirmed. I did, before sending off all your documents and your passport. That's great, you're good to go with all of the preparations if you haven't done anything already. So next we're going on to a bit of a bigger section, which is visa documents. Now, what I have listed, it may look like a lot, but as long as you follow what I say, it shouldn't be too difficult. And apart from the main visa application, those sheets, it's not too complicated. Just make sure, as always, to check everything. There are a few different things that you need to include. I will list them here. So if you want to pause that, screenshot that, that's fine. I will also include more information in the description box, or you can go back, replay this. So for me personally, as part of the application, you have to have proof that you can afford to go. If you've got I think it's a certificate of admission from your Korean university. I'm not sure how it works for other ones, but from Sogan they give you a certificate of admission, and that says that you need, I think, something like $10,000. That's their projected cost of the year for expenses. So you either, from my knowledge, have to have £10,000 in your £10,000 in your bank account for, I think, at least a month maybe, You just need it so that if you've got £10,000 from your latest bank statement before you apply, then you should be fine. But for me personally, I think I did have that amount at one point, and I included that in the application. However, my SFE payment, what I was entitled to from Student Finance England, was also enough, so I included that document as proof, so a certificate of my maintenance loan. But again, it could be different for different unis, but part of it is including that you can finance yourself. So that's the first thing I would recommend sorting out. From the information that I read at the time, there was a few different ways to do it. You can also have, like, if your parents are funding you, you can use their statements. I'm not sure if this is 100% correct now, but from a document that I read, we had to include 6 months worth of bank statements. And I'm thinking maybe I'm not sure if that was up to date, but I still did that anyways, even though some of them were nowhere near 10,000. So as long as you have a recent bank statement or your certificate of maintenance loan, which shows that that you have enough money for whatever the Korean uni has said you need, then you're fine. The next thing you need, you need the KVAC Korea form that I mentioned earlier. You only need that if you are getting your passport and document sent back to you. So if you're going to go and pick it up or you don't need it, then don't worry about that. Again, I should be showing all the documents here beside me. But what is very, very important are the next few documents. I will get onto the actual visa application after this, because that's the longest thing and I want to go through it individually, like box by box. Even though it might take a while, I think there are some things which are worded very weirdly, which need to be explained in the best way that I can possibly do that, because I was so confused myself. So yeah, the next thing, KVAC consent form and terms of use. It's basically just accepting their terms and conditions. You have to sign it and just fill that out as it says, and you should be fine, so make sure you have that. And then there is the official visa checklist. So the KVAC checklist for mail-in applications. So as you can see, it's literally just, you have to tick that you've included everything. I think it's just like a confirming, so they know that you know what is in there. And also you have to include your proof of payment for everything. Even though you sent one in your email, that is still important so that they can, again, see that you've paid it and they don't have to look back on their records or emails or whatever to see that you've done that. So that is all the documents aside from your passport and the visa application pages themselves. I will say, some might not know until later, but one of the most important things is, if you're mailing in, you have to include your physical passport. So no copies of it, your literal passport has to go in the post, sent with all of the documents. That is very, 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 very important. So if you take nothing apart from this away from the video, this is the thing you want to know. May seem silly, but I'm sure there are people who do not realise this. So yes, include your passport, please. Okay, so now we will be moving on to filling out the visa application. The most fun part, some might say. Okay, we are now on to the official visa application form. So this is what it looks like, and there are, let's see how many pages, five pages. So don't be phased, it does look like a lot of Korean, but everything is in English, so not to worry about anything. So this one is pretty straightforward. So you've got your family name, so your last name and your first name and any middle names that you have here. Sex, so male, female, date of birth, nationality, so like British, American, Australian, whatever your nationality is, country of birth, and national identity number. Now, if you don't know what your national identity number is, then it is likely that you do not have one. I don't think many singularly British passport holders have them. I don't think it is a thing in the UK, so it doesn't apply to you, so you can move on. Then we have the so yeah, has the applicant ever used any other names to enter or depart from Korea? So if no, then moving on, and if yes, then you just have to provide the details. Now for the photo, it's a 35mm by 45mm photo, and you can go to pretty much any normal photo booth, like in Boots or Sainsbury's or Tesco or wherever they are, or even Asda, and just get a set of normal passport photos. I printed one out and stuck it on there as it says to do so. However, they still used my passport photo, so that was a bit annoying, but what can you do? Details of visa application is the next section. So period of stay, long or short term, you just cross out the one which doesn't apply to you. So you've got long-term stay over 90 days, short-term stay less than 90 days, so you tick whichever one applies to you. And status of stay, so that is I think why you're going, basically. So for me, I think it was I put in exchange student there, because that is why I'm going. Okay, so ignore this because that's for official use, so that is what they will fill in themselves. So we are moving on. Okay, so next, passport type, so whichever one applies to you, fill that in. Then we have passport number, so that will again be on your passport. Country of passport, again, all information will be in your physical passport. Place of issue, date of expiry, all there. Does the applicant have any other valid passports? So basically, if you have dual citizenship, you'll probably have two passports. So if yes, then you just provide the details here. And if you haven't, then like me, that doesn't apply to you, you move on. So just ignore that if you haven't got another passport. So that's pretty straightforward. Then the contact information, your address, your current residential address, only if it is different from the one. So for me, I have my home address in Suffolk, but then at the time I was applying, I was still living in Archway in London, so I put that address down. Then you have to put your cell phone number, and don't worry if you haven't got a Korean number, you're probably not likely to get one until you're actually in Korea, so just put down your normal cell phone number. If you have a telephone number, put that down, but if not, don't worry about it. And then your email address. And I probably should have stated this as first, but do this in all capitals, so it's so much easier to read. And if you mess up something, if you mess up a little thing, maybe cross it out and write it next to it, or just print off another page and do it again. Okay, then you have emergency contact information. So this is the person this is like your first point of contact when you're in Korea. Like for me, it's my mum. She is my emergency contact. So put their full name, country of residence, phone number, and then a relationship. So for me, it was mother. So that's what you put there. Okay, next, marital status and family details. So for me, and probably many of you, this may not apply, and you're probably not married or divorced, but it doesn't matter if you are. But if you are not either of these two things, even if you are in a relationship, you want to tick the single box right here. And then you've got personal information of the applicant's spouse. So if you have one, just write in there. So then you've got, yeah, all of this if you are not single, if you're married, divorced, etc. Put all that down. And here we go. Does the applicant have children? No. If yes, yes, and the number. So straightforward. And then we get on to education. So it says, what is the highest degree or level of education applicant has completed? Now, I was a bit confused by this because I am obviously doing my bachelor's degree and I have not completed it. So I thought, you know, A levels, so that's like the last certificates or completion that I have done. So it might be different for you. So masters, if that's the most recent thing you've completed, put that. High school diploma. So I put, for me, I put other because I wouldn't, high school diploma I would say would be GCSE's equivalent for us. So I put other, and then the details I just put A levels in caps. And then you put your name of school where you got the qualification from and location. So that's the location of school, city, province, country. So I put Norwich, and that because that's the city that I did my A-levels in. So next page, we have got employment. So current personal circumstances. For me, it'll be student. For many of you, for this one, it probably will be student. So that is the box you tick. Employment details also is for student as well, so make sure you complete this. So name of company, institute, school, so name of your university. For me, SOAS. Address, so the address of your company, institute, school. Position, course, so I put bachelor's, so BA. And then telephone number, that's the telephone number of the institution. So again, pretty straightforward. Then we move on to details of visit. I put study/training because I'm obviously an exchange student, so intended period to stay. Now I put 12 months, it may be different for you. I just put 12 months so that my visa could stretch that long if I decide to do traveling in Korea, around Korea, or I don't know, Japan or China or wherever. So I put 12 months just to be safe. And then you've got your intended date of entry. Now, if you haven't booked plane tickets yet, don't worry, just put, I know, I think I hadn't done my plane tickets yet, so I put a period of time. So I think I put the 18th to the 25th of August because I wasn't sure, so that just gives them an estimate. So literally just either do that or put a date that you're most likely to go. Don't worry, when you get it approved, you will have around a 2-month period where you can book between to enter, so don't worry too much about that. Address in Korea. Now for this, if you don't have one, you still have to put one down. So if there is accommodation or somewhere, even on Airbnb where you're looking at, just put it down. It doesn't really matter at all. This won't affect your application. Just make sure you put something down. And then contact number in Korea, put whatever the contact number is of the place you've decided, or even a friend. Just put a number down that's not your own. Now this, so has the applicant travelled to Korea in the last 5 years? For me it was no, but if it is yes, you just put purpose of visit, so holiday, vacation, work, part-time work or whatever, and then just the period of stay, so the date you went, the date you came back. Has the applicant travelled outside his or her country of residence, excluding to Korea? So anywhere which is not Korea, you want to put down. Now, 5 years is quite a while if you've gone on a lot of holidays. For me, I could only remember 3 in that period of time, so I put 3 down, and then purpose or vacation and stay. I think if you leave out a couple, unless you've got a stamp in your passport, I don't think they're gonna know, and I don't think it really matters too much, so just be as correct as possible. And we're getting there, we're nearly there. So, does the applicant have any family members staying in Korea? If you do, tick yes and put all this information down. I do not, so I put no and moved on. And then, is the applicant traveling to Korea with any family members? If yes, tick that and again put all the information down. If no, move on to details of invitation. So for details of invitation, is there anyone inviting the applicant for the visa? If you have been accepted to a Korean university, that school, that university is the institution which has invited you to apply. So is there anyone inviting the applicant for the visa? Yes. Tick yes, because that would be your Korean university. And name of inviting person organizations, I put, for me, Sogang University. Date of birth / business registration number. So this it should be on your I think certificate of admission or acceptance letter. It should be on there, so write that down. Relationship to the applicant, I think I put hosting university. And then the address, just put the address of your university and their phone number. Okay, funding details. So estimated travel costs in US dollars, that again should be on your certificate of admission or approval. So that will be on your official documents, at least one of your official documents from the hosting university. And who will pay for the applicant's travel expenses? So if that is you, put your own details, or if that's your parents, fill in that. For me, I put Student Finance England because that is the majority of the funding is from them. So I put SFE or Student Finance England. Relation to the applicant, so just the funding body. So if it is your mum or father, put your parents. If it's Student Finance England like me, just put the government funding. Type of sport, student loan. So that will be student loan. And then contact number, so for SFE England, I just put that. If it's your parent, put that down, whatever applies to you. And then assistance with this form. I didn't have any assistance. Like I put, no, I have not had any assistance, and then left that blank. And then we are on to the final page. So it's the declaration. You're basically ticking that everything you have provided is as correct as possible to your knowledge. So you put in the date of application, so date I posted it is what I put my name, and then you have to put your signature, and then this is just the info of the procedure. But once you've done that, you are done. If you're still with me, we are getting to the end, I swear. So, postage. Seems simple, but some people overthink it. I kind of did. But the document that you use to find the bank details for the payment of the visa, you also have the information for mailing. It has it on there, which is great, pretty straightforward. Now you may be wondering, but Alfina, what postage do we use? Postage is confusing, and yes, postage is confusing, especially, what size. I meant to use an envelope, one of those harder ones. If you've never posted anything before, then you probably have no idea what I'm on about. But let's all just take a breath. I'm gonna sip some tea. It's not too difficult. They, does it say on there? Yes, it does. So they recommend you use the special delivery guaranteed 1 p.m. the next day. Now, I personally would also recommend doing that because it gives you superb peace of mind that your documents and your passport, which is, you don't really realise how attached to your passport you are until obviously being at the airport and constantly checking it every 5 seconds, but also when you have to literally part with it and send it to a faraway place. That in itself is very scary and you don't realise how important it is. So I would very highly recommend, as they say, to use the special delivery. If you don't want to or it's too expensive, then I understand, and that is a bit tricky, but I would also say just use something where you can track it, or I wouldn't really recommend just doing first class. It is such an important document and you have got your passport in there, so something, any kind of delivery where you can at least track it, even if it does take longer, should be fine. But for us, we should get the money back on Student Finance England. You might also be in that situation too, so I think as long as you've got the receipt for that or proof, then I think go for it. You'll probably be able to claim it back. Yeah, I recommend special guaranteed by 1 p.m. delivery, next day delivery. It's a bit of a mouthful. Just make sure you've got all your documents there, you have done the checklist, you've done the waiver forms, you've got your application, you have triple, quadruple checked it until you are content and happy. Include everything in there. So with the special delivery, you can either I think you can print off the label, which I did, and sellotape it on, or you can, I think, bring a QR code to your local post office. If they do that, you'll have to check with your local post office, but then they print it off for you and send it off. Now, I have not, I'm thinking, I have not forgotten about packaging. So I actually went to the post office and bought a large envelope thing. I actually think I have it, 1 second. Yes. So I actually bought one of these. It's quite large, as you can see, because I did not take any A4 pages with me, and I thought, oh god, what if it's too thick and it can't fit in a smaller one? Turns out I really did not need that. It was a bit overboard, but the fact that it had padding in it, like the kind of bubble wrap in there, I was getting a bit ahead of myself, but I was also a bit, worried. I just used I think it was slightly larger than A4, one of those kind of cardboard, like do not bend ones. I will put a picture here, because I don't know what the specific name is for it. I'll actually show you now the Royal Mail website specifications and the one that I used. So maybe I should have started with that, but anyways, you've got your packaging, you've got your documents, and you have paid for your postage. You're pretty much good to go. That is the extent of the postage section. And we are so very nearly at the end. So our postage procedure and tracking your visa. Oh my gosh, that rhymed. Oh, okay. Moving on. So once you've sent it off into the world, and if you've done the special delivery, then the next day you should get proof of delivery, picture. I think mine was a picture showing that it's there, it's arrived, and then you can really take a good nice breath. It is there, you've got there, you're fine, it's in their hands now. So you just wait once that's happened. Now they say at the moment it will take a maximum of 2 weeks for them to process your visa and send it back. However, myself and many of my other classmates received it in about a week. Some people longer, but maybe I just sent it off at a non-busy time. I would say that when you get into late July, early August, that's when things are really busy. So if you can get it in early July or mid-July like I did, I think I sent mine off on the 12th of July, you're pretty good. Even some people doing it at the end of June. So literally the earlier the better for this sort of thing, because the peak of summer is really when they're gonna get the most, and that is when things start getting a bit slower. Now, once it's been a few days, you should actually, I don't know what the time it is when it's processing, but you will be able to at some point within that 2 weeks track your visa, and not track where it is, but track the status. So it's processing, if it's approved, denied, whatever, declined. But yeah, so the visa portal, you just write in your, I think your passport number, your name, make sure the last name is first. I found out 3 days later when I tried that, because I was silly and didn't read something properly, so I got panicked. But yeah, so last name, then all your first, middle names, etc. Passport number, make sure you've ticked the right thing and just track it. And if it's still processing, it probably won't say anything, but I tracked it days later than what I would have been able to if I got it correct the first time, and it was approved, and they included I think a PDF of the approved visa. So that even though I was getting my passport mailed back and also, you know, an actual sheet, if you rip that sheet or something happens to it, don't worry, there will be that PDF or document on the visa tracking website, so don't panic if something happens. Yeah, that is pretty much the whole process that I went through, everything that I had to fill out. Hopefully I didn't bombard you with too much overwhelming information, and if you follow this you should be fine, seeing as mine got approved. I would not have done this if it was declined. Hopefully I was able to help in some way, and if you are in the same position as me and have applied or are applying, good luck first off, and have an amazing time in Korea. I will be documenting my whole journey. I'm going to take you all along with me. Please like and subscribe, it would mean a hell of a lot to me. I hope that this video has been helpful, and you know, even if I've just had one person, and again, if you can take anything from this, please include your passport. I will see you in my next video, whatever that may be. It might be I'm planning on doing a moving vlog and a vlog of traveling to Korea, which is coming up very soon. I hope everyone is having a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Well,